Right now, without fixing a single thing, you can feel the exact moment your life begins to open again. It's quiet. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives like a warm light turning on inside a room you've been living in the dark. And the way you find it is almost laughably simple. You come back. You come back to this moment, not your next moment, not the version of you you're trying to become, not the conversation you're replaying or the future you're rehearsing. This breath, this body, this heartbeat, this small, sacred now. Let yourself try it with me, just for a few seconds. Don't strain, don't force. Just notice your breath as it is. Feel the air enter. Feel the air leave. Notice the weight of your body where it meets whatever is holding you. Your chair, your bed, the floor beneath your feet. Let your shoulders soften even a little. And as you do that, something changes. Not because you worked harder, not because you thought a better thought, but because you stopped leaving yourself. So many people think their greatest potential is locked behind more effort, more discipline, more strategies. And yes, action matters. But if your action is built on an inner state of rushing, fear, pressure, and disconnection, it's like trying to pour clean water from a cup that has a crack in it. You keep pouring, but you keep leaking. You end up exhausted, confused, wondering why you're doing all the right things and still not feeling the aliveness you expected. Presence is how you seal the cracks. Presence is how you gather your energy back from everywhere you've scattered it. Presence is how you become a clear signal again. You may not realize how often you abandon the moment. It's incredibly common. You're brushing your teeth, but your mind is already arguing with someone who isn't even there. You're eating, but your body is barely tasting, barely receiving, because your thoughts are 10 steps ahead. You're with someone you love, but half of you is elsewhere, planning, worrying, checking, drifting. And it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been trained to live like this, fast, efficient, always becoming, rarely being. But your power doesn't live in the future. Your power doesn't live in the past. Your power lives in the only place you can actually touch life, here. Presence is not the same as being calm all the time. Let's be honest, life doesn't always feel calm. Presence isn't pretending you don't have feelings. It isn't forcing yourself into a peaceful mask. Presence is simply telling the truth of what's here with kindness. It's meeting your life without flinching. Sometimes presence is gentle and soft, like sunlight on your skin. And sometimes presence is raw, like rain on your face. Both are real. Both are allowed. Imagine you're standing beside a river. Your thoughts are like leaves floating by on the surface. Presence doesn't require you to dive in and chase every leaf. Presence is the part of you that can stand on the bank and watch, notice, breathe, choose, that's all. And when you do that, something incredible begins to happen. Your life stops feeling like it's dragging you behind it. You start to feel like you're inside your own experience again. You become available to your own wisdom. Here's a simple truth that changes everything. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. So if your attention is constantly locked in worry, comparison, resentment, or fear, your energy is living there too. And then you wonder why you feel depleted. You wonder why you can't create. You wonder why you don't feel inspired. It's not because you don't have potential. It's because your potential is waiting for your attention to come home. You can think of presence like a lantern. When you carry it, your next step becomes visible, not your whole life, not every answer at once, just the next step. And that's how real transformation works. One honest step at a time, guided by awareness, not panic. Perhaps you've experienced this. You sit down to do something important, something you care about, and suddenly your mind becomes a noisy room. You check your phone. You rearrange things. You remember a task you forgot. You feel a little restless, maybe even irritated with yourself. You might think, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just focus? But what's really happening is that you're trying to create from a scattered state, and the scattered state will always feel like friction. Presence doesn't yell at you. Presence doesn't shame you. Presence just gently takes your hand and says, come back with me. Try this now. Put one hand, if it feels comfortable, over the center of your chest. Feel the warmth of your palm. Let that touch be a signal to your nervous system that you are safe enough to be here. Take a slower breath, not a dramatic one, just a little slower. And as you exhale, allow your jaw to unclench. Allow your belly to soften. Yes, even if you've been holding it tight without realizing. This is not a small thing. This is you reclaiming your home. Now, let's talk about your greatest potential, because I want you to understand what that really means. Your potential is not a checklist. It's not perfection. It's not constant productivity. Your greatest potential is the most authentic expression of you. It's your creativity, your love, your clarity, your courage, your ability to respond instead of react. It's the way you walk into a room and feel grounded in yourself. It's the way you make decisions from truth instead of fear. It's the way you allow life to move through you rather than against you. And presence unlocks that, because presence is where you stop fighting what is and start working with what is. When you're present, you can actually hear yourself. You can notice the small signals your body has been sending for years. You can feel when something is a yes and when it's a no. You can tell the difference between intuition and anxiety. You can tell the difference between a desire that's true and a desire that's borrowed. And you don't have to become a different person to do this. You just have to become more here. Maybe you've had a moment like this. You're driving home, and you realize you don't remember the last 10 minutes of the drive. You were physically there, but your mind was somewhere else. That's how many people are living their lives. And then they wonder why time feels like it's slipping through their fingers. It's because they aren't inhabiting it. Now imagine the same drive, but you're present. You notice the light through the trees. You notice the sound of the tires on the road. You notice your breath moving. You notice your hands on the wheel. You're not forcing yourself to be cheerful. You're simply here, and suddenly life feels fuller. Not because anything changed outside of you, but because you arrived inside of you. Presence is not about doing more. It's about receiving more of what's already here. And this is where the magic starts, in the most grounded way. When you are present, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary suffering. You stop feeding stories that keep you small. You stop arguing with reality. And when you stop doing that, you have more energy for what actually matters: creation, connection, healing, learning, growth. You might notice this in your relationships too. Perhaps you've been listening to someone, but really you're preparing your response, or you're worrying about how you're coming across. It happens. You're not alone. But when you become present, you listen differently. You feel the person in front of you. You pick up the unspoken. You respond from care, not from defense. That kind of presence can change an entire relationship without one dramatic conversation. And it starts small. It starts with a breath, a softening, a return. Let me offer you a gentle practice you can use anytime, even if your day is busy, even if your mind feels loud. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need candles, crystals, or an hour of silence. You just need willingness. Begin by noticing 5 simple things. Notice one thing you can feel physically right now. Maybe the fabric against your skin, the coolness of the air, the warmth in your hands. Then notice one thing you can hear. Even if it's just the hum of a machine, the distant sound of voices, the quiet of your room. Then notice one thing you can see, something small like a color, a shape, a shadow. Then notice one thing you can smell or taste, even faintly. And finally, notice your breath again. That's presence. That's you stepping back into your life. And if your mind wanders while you do this, that doesn't mean you failed. That's part of it. The wandering is not the problem. The forgetting is not the problem. The practice is the returning. You are allowed to return 1,000 times. You are allowed to be human. Now here's what's interesting. When you return to the moment, you don't lose your ambition. You don't become passive. You become aligned. Your actions become cleaner. Your choices become clearer. You begin to move with life instead of against it. Think about an archer. If the archer's hands are shaking, if their breathing is shallow, if their mind is frantic, the arrow won't land where they intend. But when they become present, steady breath, grounded feet, clear gaze, the same bow, the same arrow suddenly becomes powerful. Presence is what steadies you. Presence is what aims you. And you deserve to live with that steadiness. Perhaps you've experienced this too. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already sprinting. You remember what you didn't finish. You remember what someone said. You start predicting what might go wrong. You might not even realize you're doing it, it can feel automatic. In those moments, try something gentle. Before you get up, bring your attention to one point in your body, maybe your feet. Feel them, wiggle your toes, or place your hand on your chest again and feel your own presence there, and say quietly inside yourself, I am here, not as a command, as a reminder, as a kindness. You might be surprised how that changes your whole morning, not by making it perfect, but by making it yours. Presence also changes how you manifest, because so much of manifesting is talked about like it's a technique you do with your mind, as if you can think your way into a different reality while your body stays tense and your heart stays guarded. But your life responds to what you embody, not just what you wish for. When you're present, you embody trust. You embody receptivity. You embody wholeness. And from that place, your intentions become more magnetic, more coherent. You're not begging the universe to fix you. You're partnering with life from a grounded sense of worthiness. And yes, you are worthy. You don't have to earn worthiness. You don't have to prove yourself into being lovable. Worthiness is your starting point. Presence helps you remember that. Let's talk about the emotional side, because presence isn't just about focus or productivity. Presence is where you meet your emotions without drowning in them. It's where you stop running from what you feel, and you also stop being defined by what you feel. Maybe you felt a wave of sadness come out of nowhere, or irritation that feels too big for the situation. You might think you were overreacting, or you might judge yourself. But often, what's happening is simply that your system is asking to be heard. When you're present, you can hear it. You can say, something in me is asking for attention right now. And you don't have to solve it immediately. You can breathe with it. You can give it space. You can let it move through you like weather moving through the sky. Your emotions are not enemies. They are messages, and you are strong enough to listen. Here's a little metaphor to hold on to. Imagine your inner world is a garden. When you're not present, weeds grow unnoticed, not because you're bad, but because you haven't been tending. Presence is you walking through the garden each day, gently noticing what needs water, what needs sunlight, what needs pruning. You don't scream at the weeds. You don't shame the soil. You simply tend. And over time, your garden becomes more beautiful, more alive. That's the kind of transformation that lasts. Another scenario. You're trying to make a decision, whether to stay, whether to leave, whether to start something new, whether to speak up. You might go back and forth in your head, making lists, asking everyone for their opinion, trying to find certainty, but your deepest clarity usually doesn't arrive as a loud thought. It arrives as a quiet knowing in the body, a soft expansion, a gentle settle, or sometimes a tightness that says, not this. Presence is what lets you hear that subtle language. So if you're facing something like that, try this. Take a breath and ask yourself, what do I notice in my body when I imagine choosing this? Not what you think you should feel, what you actually notice. And then imagine the other choice. Notice again. You don't need to rush. You're allowed to take your time. Wisdom doesn't hurry. Presence doesn't mean you'll never feel fear. It means you don't let fear drive the car. And yes, there will be days when presence feels hard. There will be days when you feel scattered, when your mind is loud, when you're tired, when the world feels too much. On those days, don't turn presence into another thing you failed at. That's not love. That's pressure in a spiritual costume. On those days, presence can be as simple as whispering, "This is a hard day, and I'm still here." Presence can be as simple as feeling your breath for one inhale. One. That counts. That matters. That is you choosing yourself. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Your power is not fragile. It's patient. It waits for you. Sometimes people worry that if they become present, they'll have to feel everything they've been avoiding, and that can sound scary. So let me say this gently. You are allowed to go slowly. Presence is not a floodgate you rip open. Presence is a door you can open a little at a time. You can take a breath, look around, and decide what feels safe today. You can build trust with yourself. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice presence in small ways, the more resilient you become. Your capacity expands. You realize you can be with your life. You can be with yourself. You can meet what's here and still be okay. And from that place, your potential naturally starts to show itself. You might notice you're more creative. Ideas come when you stop forcing them. You might notice you speak more clearly because you're not trying to be someone else. You might notice you feel drawn to different choices, healthier choices, truer choices, not because you're punishing yourself, but because you can finally feel what nourishes you. That's presence. It brings you back to what supports you. Let's deepen it just a little more. There's a kind of presence that is simply attention, and then there's a presence that is love. Attention says, "I'm noticing." Love says, "I'm here with you." When you combine the two, your life changes faster than you expect, not because you're chasing change, but because you stop abandoning yourself in the middle of your own experience. So right now, imagine you're speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you adore, someone you want to help, not fix, someone you want to encourage, not pressure. Let your inner voice soften. Let it become kinder. Let it become a place you can rest. Because you deserve that. You deserve to live inside yourself without being attacked by your own thoughts. And as your inner world becomes kinder, your outer life begins to reflect that kindness. Not in a magical, instant way, in a steady, real way. You begin to choose differently. You begin to show up differently. You begin to trust yourself. Presence also invites you into a deeper connection with something greater than your personal mind. Call it intuition, call it guidance, call it inner knowing, call it the wisdom of life. You don't have to use any specific words, just know this. When you're constantly rushing, it's hard to hear a whisper. But when you slow down, when you become here, the whisper becomes clear. You might feel a gentle nudge to rest when you usually push. You might feel a soft pull toward a new path. You might suddenly realize the answer you've been searching for is simpler than you thought. That's not you becoming lazy. That's you becoming aligned. Let me give you one more everyday picture. Imagine your mind is like a radio. If it's tuned between stations, it's mostly static. You hear bits and pieces, but nothing clear. Presence is tuning the dial. It doesn't add more noise, it reduces the static. And when the static quiets, you can finally hear the song that's been playing underneath all along. That song is you. And you don't need to wait for a perfect life to be present. Presence is not a reward you earn after everything is sorted out. Presence is how you sort things out, one honest moment at a time. In the coming days, you might notice small shifts. Maybe you pause before reacting. Maybe you catch yourself in a spiral and you take one breath and come back. Maybe you enjoy your tea more. Maybe you feel a little more grounded walking down the street. These are not small things. These are signs of you returning to your own power. If you want a simple phrase to carry with you, let it be this. Here is where I begin. You can say it while you wash your hands. You can say it before you open your laptop. You can say it before you speak. Here is where I begin. Not later, not someday, here. And as you practice, you'll start to understand something profound. Presence doesn't just unlock your potential. Presence reveals that your potential was never truly locked. It was simply waiting for your attention, waiting for your permission, waiting for your love. So if you've been feeling stuck, let this be gentle reassurance. You don't have to push the river. You don't have to force your unfolding. You can soften into this moment and let life meet you. You can take the next step from a place of grounded truth. You can create from steadiness. You can heal through kindness. You can live with more clarity and more peace. Not because you controlled everything, but because you came back to yourself. Take one more breath with me. Feel it enter. Feel it leave. And let your body know, even if only a little, that you are safe to be here. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to be present. Your greatest potential isn't somewhere far away, waiting for you to become perfect. It's right here, in the quiet courage of this moment, and you can touch it now. You are here, you are awake, you are worthy, and the more you live from this place, the more life opens, naturally, lovingly, in its own time. If you'd like, take this into the rest of your day as a gentle experiment. Notice when you leave yourself and simply come back without judgment. Come back to your breath. Come back to your body. Come back to the moment. Because this is the key, not forcing, but allowing. Not chasing, but arriving. And when you arrive, you remember who you are.